Bash in Berlin was last weekend, and it was fantastic. It far exceeded my expectations. Not that I had low expectations, but coming off of such a great SummerSlam, it's kind of hard to follow up. They did a fantastic job. They had some really great matches and some duds. Now, I watched it 3 times so I can give an official rating and review of it. And as always, we will start with the lowest rated match of the night for me. My lowest rated match was Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill versus the Unholy Union. It just, as much as I love tag team wrestling, and I especially want the push for women to be pushed in such a good fashion, this just could have been a SmackDown match. Or a Raw match. It didn't have to be on the card. I feel like there are much more compelling stories that we could have been told through this match slot, but I do appreciate getting a tag team match on the PLE, but it just wasn't good. It only was really good for me for the last about 5-ish minutes. They had a lot of time to fill. And so for 5 minutes being good, that's a little too much time spent. I think they both could have done better. Both teams have the ability to do better. And I'm not sure why it just didn't quite click on this one. I gave it a 73, which is 3.65 stars, which isn't bad, but it also isn't great. It was fun. It was entertaining. There was nothing necessarily that I hated about it. I was just a little bored. And for a PLE match, you want it to be exciting. You want it to be, you want to be involved in it. You want to be out of your seat. And the start of the match was just kind of, the first time I watched it, I think it was on my phone more than I was watching the match, which is important. That's why I watched these 3 times. Live, I just wasn't as interested in it. So that's my official rating is 3.65. The next match might come as a shock because I know a lot of people loved it and there's a lot of talk about it online, but it's Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest versus Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio. I have some other thoughts on this whole feud that I will be making a video about later, but it was just okay. I think there's a lot of space for mixed tag matches to be incredible and give us some matchups that we would have never thought about. But this one was just okay. It was good. It was consistently good throughout the entire thing, but I wasn't shocked by the ending. I wasn't compelled to see another match after that. And this is a ongoing feud. At the end of it, I was just like, okay, we could have just ended this here. I know we're going to get more. We're definitely going to get more because there's a lot to unpack with just the Judgment Day breakup and everything going on. But that could have just ended it for me. And I just been like, okay, back to regular, new feuds and whatever else they have cooking up. I gave it a 78, which isn't necessarily bad, but isn't necessarily good, which came out to a 3.9 star match, which is almost 4, which is good 4 is a very good spot to be in, but it just isn't quite there. Wasn't quite there. It's another one of those that we might could have just had on a SmackDown or a Raw and been fine. But it's on a PLE. Oh well. The next 3 are the best matches of the night by far, and they come in pretty closely ranked together. But I'm going to start out with Gunther and Randy Orton. Overall, this was a fantastic match. I loved watching it. My eyes were glued the entire time. But it wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be, which is unfortunate. It's a Gunther match and a Randy Orton match. Both of them are high caliber wrestlers. It just didn't outshine the other two, in my opinion. I loved it. I will go back and watch it again. It was great. If you haven't seen it, you need to watch it. Especially the entrances. I think they were using 8K cameras the entire night, but you don't really notice it until you get to Randy Orton's entrance, and it looks fantastic. It looks so good. I was just in awe of how good it looked. It almost felt like I was there, which is a crazy thing to say about sitting in your TV and just watching an event. But overall, great match. Will watch again. I gave it an 89, which is a 4.45, which is great. I would love to see them go at it again. I think a three-peat for them would be great. I just didn't really like the ending on submission, which I know is something that happens. I'm just not a huge fan of it. I would much rather see somebody just get beaten down or get knocked out or something like that. A submission from Gunther, not the best. He's so powerful and so strong. I would much rather just see somebody get knocked out. Now, the next match is CM Punk and Drew McIntyre in a strap match. This one was different. The stipulations were different. I feel like every time I watch a strap match, something's different about it. But I kind of enjoyed it. It's like a strap match, 4 corners match, which was very interesting. And you saw them use that mechanic multiple times in the match in their favor. So I was all for it. I loved it. It was a great match. I would go back and watch it. I 100% recommend it. The feud that they have has been incredible. One of the best feuds WWE has had in years, where it feels like they actually hate each other. Now, I understand it's kayfabe, but I love the fact they're bringing sort of that style of kayfabe back, where you watch this and be like, maybe they actually do really hate each other. So it was fantastic. The ending was like a chef's kiss. It felt like the ending of a feud, which we all know it isn't by now. But even in the post-match interview, CM Punk was saying that he was done with him. He's got his bracelet back. All is right in the world, and he's moving on. But now we know that's not true, and we'll probably get to see another match at Bad Blood, which, please put him in a cell. That it would be life-changing to watch them in a cell. I gave it a 92, which is a 4.6. It was great. I will rewatch it, especially before Bad Blood. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it. And last but not least, we've got Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes. Now, this was match of the night for me by far, and it was the beginning of the event. They started out hot, kind of fizzled a little bit, and then got hot again. But this was by far one of the best title defenses we've seen out of Cody. And I'm loving Kevin's character in this. You can see he's fighting with the inner demons of his past, trying to be a good guy, and he's fighting hard. There were a couple moments in the match where Kevin could have gone back to that old, just destroy everything Kevin, and he chose not to, and it cost him the championship. I think this is amazing. It's great storytelling. It took us out of the bloodline vortex for just a moment, and I couldn't have been happier. This was the best way to start out the PLE. Honestly, I think this should have finished it. I think we should have started with Gunther and Randy and finished with Cody and Kevin Owens after watching it and seeing everything go down. I think that would have been the best possible structure for this. Now, I gave it a 98, which is 4.9 stars, which is probably one of the highest ratings I've ever done because I loved it. I watched it 3 times, and I was just as compelled to watch it again as when it ended each time. I think they did a fantastic job. We'll watch again. Hope to see another one out of them. And that's it for Bash in Berlin. It was fantastic. I enjoyed myself watching it. And I'm looking forward to Bad Blood as some of these matches and feuds will carry over. And I will be doing an NXT No Mercy review later on. That was also great. So be on the lookout for that. I've got a couple of other things coming in the coming weeks, and I will be live streaming a little bit more often now that I've got some kind of schedule worked out for doing YouTube and doing live streaming. So just stay in tune, check it out, and I'll see you in the next one.